When you think of Italy, you think of history. You think of ancient ruins, amazing art, and incredible food. But for a guy like me, I think of treasure. For thousands of years, Italy has been a powerhouse of civilization, and that means one thing: coins. Gold coins. These aren't just pieces of metal, they're tiny pieces of history you can hold in your hand. Each one tells a story about emperors, popes, merchants, and artists. For American collectors, Italian gold is the ultimate prize. It connects us to the very foundations of Western civilization. It's a tangible link to a past filled with power, ambition, and incredible wealth. It's a story I love to tell. The appeal is easy to understand. You might find a coin that was held by a Roman legionary on his way to conquer Gaul. Or maybe you'll come across a gold florin that was used by a Medici banker to fund a masterpiece by Michelangelo. These coins traveled across the ancient world, from the sands of Egypt to the misty shores of Britain. They were used to pay armies, build empires, and create some of the most beautiful art the world has ever seen. For an American who lives in a relatively young country, holding a 2,000-year-old piece of Italian gold is an incredible feeling. It's like owning a piece of a legend. The history of Italian gold coinage is a long and winding road. It starts with the mighty Roman Empire, which set the standard for gold currency for centuries. Then, after Rome fell, things got chaotic with different kingdoms and city-states minting their own coins. The Renaissance saw a new golden age, with cities like Florence and Venice creating coins that were respected all over Europe. From there, we move into the era of powerful families, papal states, and eventually a unified Italy. Each period has its own unique coins, its own rare treasures, and its own fascinating stories. It's a journey through time, all told through the glitter of gold. In this business, you see a lot of things come through the door. But when someone brings in an old Italian gold coin, my ears perk up. It's not just about the gold value, which is always there. It's about the story. Who made it? Who used it? What historical events was it a part of? These are the questions that make collecting so exciting. It's a puzzle, and every coin is a clue. For collectors in America and around the world, these coins are more than an investment. They are a passion, a connection to the past, and a real-life treasure hunt that never ends. And that, my friends, is priceless. The story of Italian gold really kicks off with the Roman Republic, and later, the Empire. The most famous gold coin of them all was the aureus. First minted around 85 BC, this coin was the backbone of Roman commerce and military pay. An aureus was a heavy, substantial piece of nearly pure gold, usually weighing about 8 grams. That's roughly the weight of 3 modern pennies, but it was worth a fortune back then. A single aureus could pay a soldier for a month, or buy a family enough grain to last for weeks. It was the dollar of its day, but way more valuable and much, much cooler. The designs on these coins are what make them so special. On one side, you almost always had the portrait of the current emperor. This was pure propaganda. It was how the emperor showed his face to every corner of his vast empire, from Spain to Syria. You can see the stern look of Augustus, the first emperor, or the crazy hairdo of Nero. Each portrait is a work of art, a miniature sculpture in gold. This was the first time in history that coins were used so effectively to project power and identity. It was a way of saying, I am in charge on every single transaction in the known world. On the other side of the aureus, the reverse, you'd find images that told a story. They might show a military victory, a famous building in Rome like the Colosseum, or a god or goddess that the emperor favored. For example, a coin might show Mars, the god of war, to celebrate a successful campaign. Or it might show the goddess Annona, representing the grain supply, to assure the people that there was plenty of food. These images were messages to the public, celebrating the emperor's achievements and the prosperity of the empire. They were like little golden billboards, spreading the news far and wide. Of course, not all aurae are created equal. Some of the rarest and most valuable ones are from the year of the 4 emperors in 69 AD, when civil war rocked the empire and multiple rulers minted coins in quick succession. A gold aureus of an emperor who ruled for only a few months, like Otho or Vitellius, can be worth a fortune to collectors today. There are also tiny gold coins called quinarii, which were worth half an aureus. These are much rarer because fewer were made. Finding one of these is like hitting the jackpot. The Roman aureus set the stage for all European gold coinage to come. When the Western Roman Empire collapsed in the 5th century AD, things got messy. Europe entered what we call the Dark Ages, but people still needed money, and gold was still king. The barbarian tribes that took over Italy, like the Ostrogoths and the Lombards, didn't start from scratch. They did what a lot of people do: they copied the best. They started minting their own gold coins, but they were heavily based on the old Roman designs. They often kept the portraits of the Roman emperors on them, even though those emperors were long gone. It was a way of giving their money legitimacy. The most common gold coin of this era was the Tremisis. This was a small gold coin, about 1/3 the weight of the old Byzantine solidus, which itself was the successor to the Roman aureus. A Tremisis weighed around 1.5 grams, so it was a much smaller and more practical coin for daily trade than the big, heavy aureus. The designs were often crude compared to the Roman masterpieces. The portraits looked more like cartoons, and the lettering was often jumbled. But they were made of gold, and that's what mattered. These coins tell a story of a chaotic time, a world trying to find its footing after a great empire had crumbled. While Western Europe was making these rough copies, the Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire, was still going strong. Their capital was Constantinople, and they continued to mint a beautiful gold coin called the solidus. These coins were the international currency of their day, famous for their purity and consistent weight. For centuries, the Byzantine solidus was the most trusted coin in the Mediterranean. Many of them made their way to Italy through trade and conquest. You can easily spot them by their distinct style, often featuring a flat, stylized portrait of the emperor on one side and a Christian symbol, like a cross, on the other. This period is fascinating because you see this mix of cultures clashing and combining on these small pieces of gold. In Italy, you could find a Lombardic Tremisis being used alongside a Byzantine solidus. It was a melting pot of money. Rare coins from this era include those minted by short-lived Lombard kings or those from remote Byzantine mints in Italy, like Ravenna or Syracuse. The value of these coins today depends on their rarity, their condition, and the historical importance of the ruler who minted them. For collectors, they represent a bridge between the ancient world and the medieval era. After centuries of chaos, Italy began to pull itself together. By the 13th century, a new power was rising, the merchant city-states. And two of them, Florence and Venice, changed the world of money forever. In 1252, the Republic of Florence introduced a new gold coin called the florin. This was a game changer. It was the first major gold coin to be successfully minted in Western Europe in over 500 years. It was made of pure gold, weighed about 3.5 grams, and had a design that became iconic. On one side was the city's emblem, the fleur-de-lis, and on the other was a portrait of its patron saint, John the Baptist. The florin was an instant success. Its consistent purity and weight made it the most trusted currency in Europe. Bankers, merchants, and kings all wanted florins. It became the standard for international trade. If you were a wool merchant in England selling to a banker in Florence, you got paid in florins. This coin funded the Renaissance. The money that paid for the beautiful cathedrals, the stunning paintings by Giotto, and the magnificent sculptures by Donatello came from the wealth generated by this little piece of gold. The florin wasn't just money. It was the fuel for a cultural explosion that changed the world. Not to be outdone, Florence's great rival, the Republic of Venice, introduced its own gold coin in 1284. They called it the ducat. It had the same weight and purity as the florin, but a different design. One side showed the Doge, the leader of Venice, kneeling before the city's patron saint, Saint Mark. The other side showed an image of Jesus Christ. Just like the florin, the Venetian ducat became a powerhouse of international trade. For the next 500 years, Venice minted this coin, and its design barely changed. That consistency gave people confidence. A ducat was a ducat, whether it was made in 1300 or 1700. These two coins, the florin and the ducat, dominated European finance for centuries. They were so successful that other countries started making their own copies. You had Hungarian ducats, Dutch ducats, and many others, all imitating the trusted standard set by Venice. For collectors, original Florentine florins and Venetian ducats are highly sought after. Early examples in good condition can be very valuable. The smallest gold coins from this era were fractional pieces, but they are extremely rare. The florin and the ducat represent a high point in Italian history, a time when its cities were the financial capitals of the world. The Renaissance wasn't just about Florence and Venice. All across Italy, powerful city-states and duchies were flexing their muscles. And honestly, one of the best ways to show off your power was to mint your own gold coins. Cities like Milan, Genoa, Naples, and Savoy all produced their own unique gold coinage. Each coin was a statement, a piece of propaganda that declared the wealth and independence of the city that issued it. It was almost like they were all competing to see who could make the most impressive money. This competition led to a beautiful variety of coin designs. In Milan, the powerful Visconti and later the Sforza families minted magnificent gold coins. A famous example is the Ducat of Galeazzo Maria Sforza, which features a stunning portrait of the Duke on horseback. This wasn't just a coin, it was a piece of Renaissance art, a miniature equestrian statue. In Genoa, another great maritime republic, they minted a gold coin called the Genovino, which competed directly with the florin and the ducat. These coins often featured a castle gate, the symbol of the city. Each city put its own stamp on its money, literally, creating a rich tapestry of numismatic history. The Kingdom of Naples and Sicily in the south of Italy also had a long and complex history of gold coinage. Rulers from different European dynasties, including the French Angevin and the Spanish Aragonese, minted coins there. A famous Neapolitan coin is the Carlino, or the Ducato, which often featured elaborate coats of arms and portraits of the ruling monarch. These coins tell the story of a region that was constantly fought over by foreign powers. The designs changed with each new conqueror, making them a fascinating timeline of southern Italian history. Each coin is a chapter in a long and often bloody story. For collectors, this era is a treasure trove. The sheer variety of coins is staggering. You can specialize in the coins of a single city, like Milan, or try to collect one from each major mint. Some of the rarest coins are from smaller states or from rulers who were in power for only a short time. For instance, a gold coin from a small duchy like Mantua, ruled by the Gonzaga family, can be incredibly rare and valuable. These coins are not just valuable for their gold content. They are prized for their beauty, their rarity, and the window they provide into the proud, competitive world of Renaissance Italy. As we move into the 16th and 17th centuries, the political landscape of Italy continued to shift. The powerful city-states began to decline, and larger territories ruled by popes, dukes, and foreign kings became more dominant. This era saw the rise of new gold coins, most notably the Scudo d'Oro, or gold shield, and the Zecchino. The Zecchino was essentially the new name for the Venetian ducat, which continued to be minted without any change in its weight or design. Its name came from the Venetian mint, the Zecca. The name Zecchino became so famous that it entered the language as a synonym for a piece of gold. The Papal States, the territories in central Italy ruled directly by the Pope, were a major force in coinage. Starting in the Renaissance and continuing for centuries, the popes minted their own money. The gold scudo was their primary gold coin. What makes these coins so interesting is that the designs changed with every new pope. One side would often feature the papal coat of arms, with the crossed keys of St. Peter and the papal tiara. The other side might show a portrait of the current pope or a religious scene. Collecting papal scudi is like collecting a timeline of the papacy itself. Beyond Rome and Venice, other powerful states like the Duchy of Savoy, which would later lead the unification of Italy, also minted gold coins. They produced coins called the doppia, which were worth 2 scudi. These often featured impressive portraits of the Savoyard dukes. In Tuscany, the Medici Grand Dukes continued to mint gold in Florence, but the coins now bore their own portraits instead of the traditional image of John the Baptist. These coins were symbols of absolute power, moving away from the republican ideals of the earlier florin. They were a clear message that the Medici were no longer just bankers. They were royalty. This period, from the 16th to the 18th century, is known for its beautiful Baroque art, and that style is reflected in the coins. The portraits are more realistic and dramatic. The lettering is more ornate, and the coats of arms are incredibly detailed. These coins were designed to impress. For collectors, rare pieces include coins from special occasions, like the sede vacante coins, minted in the Papal States during the short period between a pope's death and the election of a new one. These coins are only made for a few weeks or months, making them incredibly scarce and valuable. They are snapshots of a specific moment in time. For centuries, Italy was a patchwork of different states. But in the 19th century, a powerful movement for unification, known as the Risorgimento, swept the peninsula. This movement culminated in 1861 with the creation of the Kingdom of Italy under King Victor Emmanuel II of the House of Savoy. With a new nation came the need for a new, unified currency. The old scudi, ducats, and florins were replaced by a single currency, the Italian lira. This was a massive change, standardizing money across the entire country for the first time since the Roman Empire. The new kingdom began to mint its own gold coins based on the lira. The most common denominations were the 20 lira and the 10 lira gold coins. These were made to the standards of the Latin Monetary Union, a system joined by Italy, France, Belgium, and Switzerland, which made their coins interchangeable. The 20 lira gold coin, for example, had the same size and gold content as the French 20-franc Napoleon. This made international trade much easier. The design was simple and elegant. One side featured a portrait of the ruling king, first Victor Emmanuel II, then Umberto I, and finally Victor Emmanuel III. The reverse side of these coins typically displayed the coat of arms of the House of Savoy, a simple shield with a cross, surrounded by a wreath, and topped with a crown. These coins were minted in the millions and circulated widely. They were the everyday gold coins of modern Italy, used in large transactions and saved by families as a store of wealth. The most famous of these is the 20 lira Umberto I, minted from 1879 to 1897. They are beautiful, historic, and because so many were made, they are still affordable for many collectors today. They are a perfect entry point for someone wanting to own a piece of Italian gold. Of course, there are rarer coins from this era as well. The larger 100 lira gold coins are much scarcer and more valuable. There are also special commemorative issues and pattern coins that were never released for circulation. The smallest gold coin was the 5 lira, but it was only minted for a few years and is quite rare today. The era of Italian gold coinage effectively ended in the 1930s with the Great Depression and the lead-up to World War II. After that, gold was removed from circulation worldwide, but the legacy of the gold lira lives on as a symbol of Italy's birth as a modern nation. So, you want to collect Italian gold coins. Where do you start? For many American collectors, it's a journey that can be both thrilling and rewarding. The good news is that there's something for every budget. You can start with a common date 20 lira gold coin from the Kingdom of Italy. These are widely available, and their price is often tied closely to the spot price of gold, plus a small premium for their historical value. They are a great way to own a piece of history without breaking the bank. It's an accessible first step into a much larger world. As you get more serious, you can start exploring the earlier periods. A Venetian ducat or a Florentine florin is a fantastic goal for a collector. These coins are more expensive, but they represent the pinnacle of medieval and Renaissance finance. When buying these, condition is everything. A coin that is well struck, with clear details and no damage, will be worth much more than a worn or cleaned one. It's always best to buy from a reputable dealer or have a coin authenticated by a third-party grading service like NGC or PCGS. In my business, authenticity and condition are the two most important factors. For the advanced collector with a bigger budget, the sky's the limit. You could hunt for a rare papal scudo from a short-lived pope or a magnificent gold doppia from the Duchy of Milan. Or maybe you want the ultimate prize, a Roman aureus of a famous emperor like Julius Caesar or Augustus. These coins can sell for tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. Collecting at this level requires deep knowledge, a good eye, and a network of contacts. It's a high-stakes game, but the thrill of finding that one ultra-rare piece is what drives the passion. In America, the market for Italian gold coins is strong. There are major coin shows, auctions, and a network of dealers who specialize in ancient and world coins. The internet has made it easier than ever to research coins and connect with sellers. But my advice is always the same. Buy the book before you buy the coin. Educate yourself. Learn about the different periods, mints, and rulers. The more you know, the smarter you'll buy. Collecting Italian gold is a marathon, not a sprint. It's a hobby that can provide a lifetime of learning, discovery, and the pure joy of holding history in your hands. So why, after thousands of years, are we still so fascinated by these little pieces of Italian gold? It's more than just the metal. Each coin is a direct link to the people and events that shaped our world. When you hold a Roman aureus, you're connecting with the power and engineering of the Roman Empire. When you admire a Florentine florin, you're touching the very essence of the Renaissance, a period of explosive creativity and intellect. These coins are not just currency. They are historical documents, miniature works of art, and symbols of human ambition. They tell the story of Western civilization in a way that few other objects can. The artistry of these coins is a major part of their appeal. From the realistic portraits of Roman emperors to the elegant designs of the Renaissance, Italian coins have always been at the forefront of numismatic art. The die engravers who made them were master craftsmen, creating intricate designs on a tiny canvas. This commitment to beauty and quality is why these coins are still admired today. They are not just historical artifacts. They are beautiful objects in their own right. For collectors, owning one is like owning a tiny sculpture from a great moment in history. It's a piece of art you can carry in your pocket. For investors and collectors in America, Italian gold coins offer a unique combination of benefits. They have the intrinsic value of their gold content, which provides a hedge against economic uncertainty. But they also have a numismatic value that can grow over time, based on their rarity, historical importance, and condition. Unlike just buying a bar of gold, collecting these coins offers the added thrill of the hunt and the pride of ownership. It's an investment you can actually enjoy and share with others. You can't tell a story about a gold bar, but you can tell 1,000 stories about a Roman coin. In the end, the enduring legacy of Italian gold coins comes down to their story. It's a story of empire, faith, art, and innovation. It's a story that unfolds over 2,500 years, from the founding of Rome to the birth of modern Italy. These coins were there for it all. They paid the soldiers who built the empire and the artists who decorated its churches. They financed the voyages of discovery and funded the engines of industry. They are a testament to Italy's incredible contribution to world history. And that's why, for a history buff and a treasure hunter like me, Italian gold will always shine the brightest.